Hey everyone, welcome to Diamond Cast. It's been ages since we last did one, so really pleased to be back. How is everyone?
Yeah, good. As you pointed out, Nat, we are at all different corners of the globe right now.
Right now. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Where is everyone? That's more important.
Right.
Where is everyone?
So I'm in Philadelphia, and it's 10 in the morning, or 10:30 in the morning. Vinny V?
I'm in the Philippines. It's 10:30 in the evening.
Nice.
Mind blown.
Yeah. Back in London.
And we're in England, and it's 3:30 in the afternoon. Yeah, so...
It's been a while since we've done one. Sorry for everyone. I've been sick for the last 2 weeks. We haven't been able to do it.
How you doing now?
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. I might cough halfway through, but better than I have been. But I put some makeup on to try and disguise it.
Good.
Thanks for making it work.
Yeah.
And thanks to all you guys for trying to coordinate all this when we're in different time zones. It's appreciated.
Interesting.
Ben, you're on tour, right?
That's correct, yes.
How's it going?
It's all right. I think this will be the fourth one today. It's been well received so far. Detroit, a place called McKees Rocks. That's the name of the place. It's not the venue name. Then yesterday was Baltimore, and today is Philadelphia.
You say you saw some people wearing Diamond Black t-shirts in the front row.
Yeah, that's been incredible. And again last night. So every show of the 3 shows so far, there's been someone different on the front row wearing a Diamond Black shirt.
Nice. That's you.
Yeah. So that's been so encouraging to look down every day and be like, wow. And it's a different shirt every time, Adam. Cool. So we started off.
Are you keeping a tally of the shirts?
in here, yeah. So it was the white on black text ones, the Diamond Black one, night 1. Night 2 was the Purple Misery. Last night was the Sorrow white t-shirt. Whatever.
Wow.
Who's next? What's next? We'll see. But yeah, it's just really encouraging and exciting to come like so far away from home and see people turning up, supporting the band, and the fact that they turned up with firstly they bought the t-shirts and waited for them to be shipped from the UK, which is ace, and then also they're showing that support and solidarity to me at the front row. That's really, really nice.
Thank you.
Right.
Amazing. That's for them.
All right. Got a great show for you this week. We have been doing a lot of research, as have you guys, and have sent in a lot of really important points to us over the last week. So thank you so much for participating and joining in the conversation. We have also been looking at kind of our own ideas, and the guys are going to explain a bit about what they think of the really meaty, contentious topic we have, which is about AI and the future of music. What could be, what's happening at the moment, how are things going to be affected in the future by AI, and what does that mean for musicians and creatives in the music industry?
Yeah. Well, folks, thanks for your research, Nat. All the articles and the questions have been great, and you've got so many great responses from the Diamond Bats as well, and the supporters regarding this really interesting subject. So we've got lots to discuss. So have at it. Well, by the way, this is actually me. This isn't a artificial version of me. This is
not
actually
yet,
me.
Anyway.
Yeah. But I mean, can you guarantee it's really me? Can I guarantee I'm really me? Wow, started deep.
Would you know if you've been replaced by an AI?
Well, yeah,
that could be the future, couldn't it?
Yeah, maybe in the future you won't. Right now they're doing an okay job, but give it maybe 10 years, maybe they'll do a really cool, replicate.
What's the point where you won't actually know that you are a replication?
Yeah.
Well, it depends if they replicate your consciousness and your body together, or just the consciousness in a computer sort of network or system. But now we're going like really far into the, we would dial it right back. Yeah, don't get me down the science fiction route, because we're going to. But yeah, no. If so, things like at the moment, technology is only capable of doing stuff like creating songs. I'm not sure if you've seen any of the latest articles about some of the new sort of generative AI. So you've got the generative AI for artwork, which has caused a lot of people a lot of different viewpoints and opinions, but you also have ones for music. So you can actually input a prompt and it will generate you part of a song with lyrics, if you describe what you want the lyrics to be about, and if you describe kind of what type of music you want, it'll generate you a very kind of
it's pretty good,
rough song.
Pretty accurate though, if you in terms of genre. Like death metal song about stepping on Lego. I did that and it came in pretty accurately.
And I mean, it gives you lyrics and things as well. But I mean, would you say you can tell the difference between that and actual music, can't you? Like when you hear it, you wouldn't mistake it for a song created and performed.
I guess it depends. If you heard it just in the background, you weren't really paying attention. Maybe the production values of it and would make you just go, "Oh, that's just a song in the background." Perhaps is it only on closer scrutiny that you're like, "Oh, this isn't real"?
Okay, so a guy on YouTube called Rick Beato does videos about different things, and a couple of them was AI, and these were very kindly sent to us by Andy Crimson, who had a lot of things to say, which we'll delve into later about the subject. But the one of the things that he talks about is how his kid and their friends could like pick out straight away that it was an AI song, and was, you know, when it came on his playlist, it was like, "Dad, why are you listening to AI?" And like straight away, people could understand it. It's got different production values. The voice sounds maybe it's not tinny, maybe it's a little bit like a computerized voice. It doesn't quite sound like the heart of a human, and maybe it never will. But then that's the thing. You know, do you think it ever will, or do you think you'll ever be able to hear, humanity in an AI voice?
Well, one thing about technology is if you guys watch a movie now from 2002 with CGI, it usually looks quite bad. Whereas if you watch a movie from the 70s where they did all the stunts for real, it still looks really good. So is there a question that what might sound good now in terms of an AI replication in 10 years, we're like, that sounds rubbish? Like you can really hear auto-tune from 2002. Like is that something as well that as we progress, things that have been computer generated age quite quickly, whereas things that are real don't?
I found like the AI voice generator quite useful when writing melodies. Not to get it to write the melody, but you can program in the notes and then put words, and it will do like a fake singer. So I can map out melody lines and harmony lines until I'm happy with them, and then re-record them with my own singing. I find it quite a good tool for like planning out vocal parts, but that's not so much generative if it's just using an artificial voice for demoing.
Yeah, that's not the final product. Yeah. It's something to speed up the process of you getting to your final product, which will be an authentic product of you actually singing.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I guess
it's quite a useful tool there.
You know, I'm following a guy on Instagram. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's I think he's using AI. He's using the voice of, let's say, a famous singer and changing the lyrics, changing the pitch and the melody. So, I mean, let's say, for example, he can use Vince Neil's voice, the actual voice, and he can program it to sing a different song, let's say a hip hop. It's like he's doing pranks on this. I think his page is called "There I Ruined It." It's basically he's ruining.
I follow
song.
that one. Yeah.
Oh, you follow that one? Is that AI? Yeah. Is that AI, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it is or not, but it does. You know, it does. I don't know how he does it, to be honest.
Yeah, so he uses some kind of like technology, AI, maybe, I don't know if it's called AI, but he uses some kind of technology, whether it's in Pro Tools or Logic. But I think it's kind of like the same principle, where using a real voice, changing it into making it sing a different song, different lyrics.
But that's for comedic effect, and he's transparent about what he's doing with technology to affect it. It's not like and whether he's doing that to try and show people exactly the dangers of what could happen if they believe everything they hear, or whether he's just doing that for comedy and no harm done.
Yeah, but basically because of that, he can, if a guy like that, a person like that can do it in his room, then possibilities of someone else creating original music based off, let's say, Vince Neil's or James Hetfield's voice, it's totally possible right now.
Would it be original music if, say, we put in like all the rock singers of days gone by of the 20th century and said, create a brand new thing from all of their work? Because technically that thing doesn't exist. But is that's hugely unethical, because you're using them as examples, but the AI is creating a brand new piece that never existed before. And it's not actually doing it in the style of any single one. It's just using human culture to create something else that human culture would create. Is that unethical?
I don't think it's unethical. I don't know. I'm sure there'll be a small market for it, but I don't think it will be that big. The way I think the way I think of like AI generating music is I like to compare it to like the player piano. Right? I don't know if you know what that is, but like 100 years ago, you can get this mechanical piano, and you might have seen it in like westerns, like all the notes move themselves, and there's no one there playing it, and it's automatically playing, and it's really cool. It's like a fun novelty thing, but it never goes wrong, and it just plays the same songs right every time. But we still have people that play the piano now, so like that was better, arguably, than a person. But it doesn't. People don't just like watching music or listening to music because of the technical performance, and it's you admire the craftsmanship and the musicianship of the person playing it as well. So it has no soul, really. It's an amalgamation of just like the technical proficiency and the respect of the person's skill and the emotion, and that's something that can't be conveyed in artificial created music. I think it's like that. So that's my analogy for the whole thing.
That's a really good one, because it's something that you can then go, yes, 100 years ago that happened, and it's not superseded actual players. So yeah, that's a really good example. I think what you're saying about personality and human element, which is something that seems to come up a lot in the comments and the responses, Nat, that you put up from the followers, was that I've got a friend who works in marketing, and she said that across the board, whether it be for a new washing up liquid or it be for music, people, like consumers, if you will, are interested in the people behind the product. And so if like a cleaning product now is they've got like 10 to choose from, people will gravitate towards the one where they like the people behind it, or they like the personality of it, which can't sort of be sort of generated. So sometimes that personality comes across in, there might be some products you buy. There's a certain oat milk that I get that it's just got this kind of wacky quality to it. It's got a lot of personality on the way they write on the box and stuff. And maybe like the personality of things and the people behind the product is what people are interested in. And that's obviously with bands, that's a huge thing, because you like a band not necessarily because they make the most perfect, inverted commas, music, or they're the best guitarist or whatever. It's because you like their message, you like their personality. And the way that we're so in touch with fans now in our sort of generation of music means that we're able to put our personality out there and for people to connect to. I mean, this is us doing it now.
Also, authenticity is such a massive focus in society at the minute. And so, I think people will gravitate to things that are more authentic and real as well.
Yeah, and again, it depends on the quality of the fan, isn't it? Because
there'll be a market for people that listen to AI music, but I don't think it will replace actual musicians.
Well, yeah, I mean, say somebody who really loves watching one of these kind of reality TV competition, America's Big Star Talent 4. Do they really, really care about each artist's story and the meaning behind the music? Or is it just they like listening to singers and watching a competition?
Well, I mean, those competitions are heavily lean on the personal story of the person.
As soon as the person comes out with a sub story, they'll win.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're absolutely right. So that makes the point I wasn't trying to make, but in reverse. People do care about the personality. But when you go into the supermarket, the music.
Well, those competitions are amalgamation of the story and the person and their actual talent.
Yeah, I mean, when you go into a supermarket and you hear some music like just playing distantly in the background, you'll just be like, it's called Muzak, isn't it? A lot of like the kind of
elevated music.
Yeah, elevated music.
If you're a composer of elevated music, AI might replace you.
There you go. You summed up what I was really clunkily trying to say. You summed it up. Yeah.
I can see AI like versions of songs being used to get around sort of, you're not allowed to play certain, like in public spaces unless you have a public music license. You're not allowed to play actual recordings of recording artists. You have to play things that are like royalty free or whatever.
That's not good for us.
No, but I mean, they like, I can see shops and stuff who are like, they don't want to pay the money. Saying, I used to work in a shop, but at one point they were like, you got to stop playing the hits. You can only play these songs. And I was like, we were like, why?
Don't have to pay royalties.
It's a CD shop. We can't play the hits.
Oh yeah, I suppose if you started doing that, then you wouldn't have to pay royalties. No, that wouldn't be very good.
Something that sometimes happens when like film or movie producers are looking for music for their work is they go, look, we want something that's a bit like Tonight by Smashing Pumpkins. Have you either got something or can you write something that's a bit like that? And so I guess maybe an AI could do that. That's an opportunity for someone, potentially a musician's job, to be lost by an AI generation, because really all they want is something that has the same feel as something that already exists, rather than I want an authentic, amazing piece of music that's like nothing ever before.
Or it's a good way for, a director or someone like that to AI it themselves and then send it to someone to actually create. Say, hey, this is the thing I want it to sound like. Go and write a song like this. It's like storyboard artists. AI image generation is quite good for mood boarding and storyboarding and idea generation when you're creating something. I wonder if you could use it that way for music.
Especially for people that never would have hired a storyboard artist in the first place. So most people on sort of a team that can't afford to hire a storyboard artist, not a film or anything like that, but a marketing team, say, you might have some people who are not very creative in the way of creating stuff like drawing and writing and whatever, but they know what they want the advert or the sound to be like, so they can AI a rough mood board for it and then send it to the real creative people and say, this is the direction we're going in, but we need your heart and soul on it.
It certainly speeds up the process, doesn't it?
Yeah. And that's what AI should be used for. Not with creation, but something that makes people's lives more, easier and more comfortable.
Makes creation easier.
Exactly,
I was just because what's happening on this tour now that we're out on the road is that, but like me and Kai and Chris are all like respectively working on our own music when we can in hotel rooms and stuff, and just suddenly had this revelation of, isn't it amazing that we just need a laptop, you plug in a guitar, and you've got all the sounds that are just like generated within the software. Even though you might not use those sounds on the final thing, you can be so creative with this technology on the road, mobile. Whereas imagine trying to do this 30 years ago with like a tiny tape recorder, multi-track on, and just trying to imagine what it might sound like. In that sense, I love the ability to be so creative with the technology, because it's speeding up the process. You have an idea and you go, wicked, what would that sound like? I can then put it down. I can send it to you guys. You can go, that's great, do this. You can add to it, you can take away from it, send it back. Whereas if it was just the old tape recorder 30 years ago, I'd have to go, look, here's a bit of an idea. You have to kind of imagine how it would work. We can't really do any work on it. See you in 6 weeks.
Yeah, well, then you have to get studio time, which costs loads of money.
Well, yeah. You actually have to find a studio on the road.
And be physically together or whatever.
Yeah,
so it was a barrier before. Like, so only people who were like super rich could do that. But now also, like, it doesn't stop creatives doing things, because actually you are all creative, that you can go and make those make something with sounds that exist on a computer. Like, I can't do that. I have no idea how to do that. I have no idea what I would do if I knew how to do it technically. Right, but that's the difference, right? So I still can't use those tools to make something that sounds lovely. You can. Well, there is a difference between it's not everyone can do it. You can just pick it up and be like, oh,
that's it. And that's that whole sense of, you still need to have the inherent ability and experience, I think, to create something really good. Is something that I saw quite prevalent about 10 years ago, when suddenly everybody had access to really amazing production. It was this weirdest thing. You'd hear this incredibly well-produced, badly written music. And then everybody was like hitting the same production level because they all had all the same plugins. It was really odd. I can't imagine it like on a movie scale. Like, suddenly you've got access to all the best actors and like all the best technology and the cameras, but the movie's terrible because the story is just not, is written by someone who hasn't any experience in writing stories.
Sometimes I'll be listening to a song
and films like that.
Actually, I think you've got a point. Yeah.
What you're talking about is everyone using the same thing. There's a point where I could point out what different contact plugin someone had used when I listened to this music. I recognise the samples.
Yeah. That's what takes sort of the mystery away from it, doesn't it? Like everybody's just doing the same thing. But yeah, Vincent, you were saying you've actually seen some movies that have got this huge production value, but the content is quite poor.
Yeah, many times. And also special effects. I don't know if you noticed in Transformers and The Matrix, there was a chase scene there. They used the same exact. It's like a template. They just used the template and then replace the cars and explode. Yeah. Watch it if you have a chance. You watch that chase scene. I think it was the second Matrix.
Cool.
Reload.
And that's computer generated effects. That's not even AI. Yeah. So is AI just the next generation of computer generated effects? Because is it like, you know, on Photoshop where you cut the picture out and you can cut the person out of the background, right? And so that 10 years ago took ages, right? Now you can just AI the background out. Right?
That's quite useful in both photo editing.
Yeah, because you don't you're still going to end up with the same thing.
Canvas as well.
Save time.
Basically, to extend canvases and stuff and blow things out. That's quite
useful. Do you want to explain about your canvas extension?
Oh, well, I was making a little intro of us for the equipment videos, and I had this nice picture of Vincent. It was portrait, and obviously I wanted to be landscape, so I worked on a computer. I just AI extended the sides out a bit so it fit, and it's really cool. So it's not changing the actual picture of Vincent; it's just filling in the canvas to get it to fit, so we can use it more. That's quite useful.
So is it going, I imagine this is what the rest of the space looks like based on what I can see?
Yeah. I mean, you could physically do it, like paintbrushing or whatever, but it'll take ages. That's how it goes.
That's really intriguing. I saw somebody do that with famous album covers, is that they would go, here's the album cover. Now I want to imagine what, I don't know if they actually, I don't know if they AI this or they did it themselves, but like, you know the downward spiral, that real kind of close picture, the person with the 9 hours, what I'd seen they'd done was they extended it to like, well, what would it look like if you zoomed out from this part of it and suddenly you see this? And that, imagine how cool that can be for some really famous or any album covers you like what's beyond the frame. And I imagine AI could probably present that. If you could go to a favorite album cover and go, what if we zoomed out of this? What would the rest of the space look like?
Quite cool.
But yeah, stuff like that's creative and fun, isn't it? That's great. It's not you're not stealing anyone's jobs.
No, that's the thing. And also, like, you're not if you didn't have the means to extend that background, you're not going to call up an artist to do it because that'll cost a lot of money. You just use a different picture, right? So
you could have airbrushed it a little bit back in the day.
Yeah, or just done something. It wouldn't be that you've taken a job off of somebody else. And I think that's where where a lot of the lines get blurred, and a lot of people who do illustrations are still going to be called for illustration purposes. It just won't be, it just won't. It'll affect the people who wouldn't have otherwise done it anyway. They just get more drawings for their whatever it is they're trying to show off.
Is it possible that a bit like a copy editor or a proofreader, that what might happen is that a work is AI generated, but then you still need someone who actually can do it to come in and look at it and check as an expert? Yeah. Does the
or the value, or it's going to increase the value of actual physically human-made things. Because people will not, when you can't tell the difference between an AI picture and a painting, like the authenticity of the fact that it's done by an actual human might actually be more desirable on the market. And
because a painting is good not because of what it is usually, especially if you look at anything contemporary, it's usually it's a meaning of like what the meaning behind the painting was, or what that person's background, their story. What did they do this thing for? What's it about? What did they study to get there? In terms of about humanity, what did they study? Right. So like they may have just drawn like a red square, okay, but then it's like the series is a red square with like a couple of cubes, or I don't know, something like that you look at and you think, oh, it's abstract, right? If an AI did that, you go, it doesn't mean anything anymore. It's decoration. It's that's why like I think art still has that, because you've been able to do computer generated art for the past 40 years, and without a human, without human art. So I think it's just a sort of evolution of that. I don't think we should be scared of that.
No, good artists just use it as a tool.
I had a discussion with a friend similar to this. We were saying that maybe AI will be used in a lot of artwork, a lot of designs, but sooner or later people will say, okay, then that means the human work is going to be so rare that it's going to be a lot more expensive because there's a lot of AI, let's say AI created a lot of artwork, and then there's one artwork that's created by human, that will consider it very rare and then very special and hence more expensive.
That's why I think the music industry or musicians are a bit more protected against this, because even if you could get a music AI song that's indistinguishable, they can't perform it live. And so I think the live music scene, especially if, AI generated music gets more popular, I think people want to go and see real things and have the real connection of being in the room a lot more, and actual real world experiences would be more popular.
Yeah.
I think live music would be.
Live music's definitely one of the things that's actually not going to be taken over by AI. Obviously, it can't, but
they tried to do that ABBA one.
Anything creative.
The holographic ABBA one, but you're just going to see a recording. But
that is a bit
real.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to go and see that because it would feel very empty, like you're standing in a room but you're being played to, but there's no connection between.
There's no interaction.
No. It's like going to see the play a piano. It's like that same sort of thing. It's like there's not a real thing there. It's just a playback.
Yeah. It's like you experience that when you go to a club or something, but you know that you're going to the club to experience it with your friends, but not to, and the DJ who's kind of giving you, but the DJ is still sort of acting as the intermediary person between a CD being played and the crowd. So there is still that human connection in the club. Otherwise, they could just put on a playlist and
otherwise you can listen to those songs at home.
With your friends.
Yeah, the real world.
Same with hologram. Just watch it at home. It's not real.
But if holograms got as good as the ones on Star Trek,
that's coming up.
Would you feel like a connection, a personal connection, if androids or whatever or holograms were really human-like? Would then that change? Like if it wasn't just ABBA being projected on a stage, if it was just they could come around and talk to you and interact with you and
I think it'd be a cool novelty. I don't think it would replace human.
Have you guys seen iRobot? Will Smith. Yeah, it's the same. There's a hologram, and it was programmed based on the doctor's. I think it was based on his brain, so it can follow his emotion. But his answers are very limited because he's a robot, it's a hologram.
Can't play guitar,
Follow, no.
Exactly. AI drummer. I would be interested to see a holographic or an AI drummer. That'd be interesting.
I was actually going to say I'm interested in hearing a guitar because sometimes I use instrumental music in my videos. I want to hear what it can write for me. I write a drum beat and then write something. Really. But I don't want to do that.
A little robot good thing that can play a guitar, but it's it's a novelty.
It wouldn't play it right every time. It's not about playing it right. It's about the part you play it with each time.
But things with music, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I listen to music and then I listen to the vocals and I listen to the guitar solos, and I can tell that that music was based off his experience and his emotion. You can just tell from the solo, man, this is really, really emotional. And I think that's something that AI can never ever replicate. It's the emotion of that. I mean, let's say, for example, Ben, you wrote something. Pretty sure that's based on your maybe a life experience or something else that you felt when you were writing that song.
It could approximate it. It could sound the same, but you would know it wasn't created by a person, so it wouldn't have that emotional connection. It might have the emotional feeling, this is a really emotive guitar part, but you would know it didn't come from the same place.
So that's why people like music. It's not just because of the music, it's because of all the things that led to that music being created by that specific person.
I think so.
Or being performed by that specific person. Because you hear people playing Rachmaninoff now, right? And it's they're playing it with all of their heart and their talent and the things they bring to it.
Yeah, people still go and see cover bands, right?
Yeah, but I think that's just because the one that they're going to see cover bands because the band that they're covering are not available or they've passed away or they're...
No, but you could just listen to the original at home, right? You don't need to go and see a live band playing it live. There's something about the live performance and the connection and the musicianship and everything, even though...
It's often the spontaneity of the performance that people like to see in a live show. So, you guys have all performed. You know how exciting it is and you've been audience members, how exciting it is when performers playing and then they make eye contact with you or they do something they didn't do any other time on the tour, or that sort of unique, spontaneous connection that can only really happen in the moment like that. that isn't just about hearing the song played accurately in a live setting.
It's not about being accurate as well. It's like about the
it's not
way
about being
that
accurate
you play.
with me.
No, as in like you can be accurate every day, but it's the way, the attitude with which you play it, and the personality that you play each note is slightly different depending possibly on your mood, depending on your, if you're feeling incredibly passionate, you might play something with a bit more like than you do
It's a connection. You feed off the crowd as
and
well.
then you look at as you say, looking at the crowd, you play off the crowd, crowd plays off you. So if you're performing and you perform to someone and they get really into it, then you have that moment, and that spurs you on to perform the next bit with a bit more together with the people. So yeah, it's like it's a two-way relationship.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Because the more enthused the audience is, that feeds into the performance as well. And we've all seen that, haven't we? Who knows? Maybe you can emulate that. Maybe there's some sort of like audience loudometer that means that the AI band plays with more verve. If the audience is loud enough, it's possibly getting a bit absurd then. But yeah, it's something about the spontaneity and the mistakes of and actually knowing that people are really there is what's really important.
And it's a one-off.
And it's one-off, and you can say you were there and all that sort of thing. I think the tribute bands, as you guys have pointed out, is very different because you know that you can't have the real thing, or you've chosen not to have the real thing. And often, it's a bit of a side quest here, but often like really good tribute bands can sometimes be more satisfying to a fan than the actual band, because what the real life really good tribute band does is take the artist's work from like the halcyon era and plays all the hits, plays them so accurately, where sometimes the artists themselves be like, oh, I want to mess with this, I don't want to play that, I don't like doing that anymore. And you sort of and you get what the artist at that point in their career wants to perform.
Exactly. You're a tribute band for them at that time, so it's like a time capsule band almost.
Yeah, exactly. And often in a tribute band, the members will be of an age that are the sort of the age of the band in their prime as well. So it's and sort of that level of energy and stuff. So that could be part of it too.
Yeah, we went to see a Ramones tribute band, and they obviously, there are no Ramones anymore, but that's, you can't see them. But they also were young, and so they had the same energy and everything as the Ramones, and popping around. So yeah, I guess that's. But a tribute band and cover band, two different things, though, aren't they? Because a tribute band is like they dress up like them and they try and emulate their movements and the mannerisms, whereas a cover band just plays covers, but they don't necessarily look like them, I think.
Yeah, and I think a cover band normally would do a whole series of different artists, whereas tribute is just dedicated to one. I guess what we did with the Shot Through the Heart thing we did in London was it was a tribute to a genre and an era. So we would sort of dress as per the era and make it sound like that era as much as we could, be as accurate as we possibly could.
And it felt like you were going out in the 80s. Like
there was a whole
that. It's like everyone would dress up to go.
Yeah, totally. And we worked really closely with you guys on the artwork, and the aesthetic that you created for Shot Through the Heart was all part of that. That people would be looking at these posters weeks and weeks in advance and this artwork and getting excited about it because of the aesthetic that married in so well with the sonic quality of what they get on the day. Yeah. So I don't know what you'd really call that. Maybe it was like a tribute to an era rather than to a band.
Yeah.
That's what I mean in terms of AI, right? So people could listen to all those 80s songs at home, but they want to go out and see a band playing them live because it's about the real life, real world connection and real, feeling and something, you're not creating anything new.
Nostalgia.
You're literally doing cover songs. It's like AI that, people want to see the real life thing.
But also you still have to be really good musicians to do it.
Yes,
you can't just,
they appreciate
you're not making anything less than you would if it was your own, because you still have to know how to play guitar and sing and all that stuff. You can't emulate the greats if you can't sing and play guitar.
Exactly that.
Or drums, sorry. But yeah.
Did you hear recently, I think last week, this guy in America got arrested for making like tens of millions off AI music? You hear about that scam?
No.
So what he's used AI generation to create something like 1 million songs, maybe more than that, upload them all to the streaming sites, and then created 1 million bots to play those songs over and over again constantly, and slowly like raised like royalty payments over years of like these little increments that all went back to him.
So did he get that from Spotify? Did he get all the plays from Spotify?
Yeah,
he used bots.
Yeah, he used bots to play his own AI-generated song. It's quite a clever scam.
But why is that
it's very clever.
Because
it's illegal, though.
It's illegal because the amount of money Spotify has an amount of money to pay out, and it's taken away from actual real musicians.
Oh, I see. It doesn't just generate extra money from. It's out of a finite pool. It's not just generating more.
Yeah, so it's sort of defrauding other people.
Yeah,
it's quite a cool scam.
The amount of money you actually get from streaming isn't that much anyway, so that's why you had to do millions, right?
Yeah.
People say a lot of the articles have been right.
It's a good scam.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, he comes up with that. So, and he's really clever. Like, why is he should get like a job in like some sort of like computer hacking.
Probably will after he comes out of prison.
Yeah, another significant thing in AI and music is that they're using it to improve the quality and the suggestions and play to you on streaming services, so that supposedly you can discover new music. And a lot of the articles have been highlighting that as a positive about AI and music. I just wondered what you guys thought about that, about music discovery being easy for fans on streaming platforms.
Well, that sounds really good, doesn't it? Because it's beneficial to everybody, to the fans who want to find new music and to the new music that wants to be found. I guess, is there any way that it could be stacked in some way? Does it mean that certain artists get more visibility? But then I suppose it's always been like that. If you go back to the record stores, who are we putting on the front shelf this week when you walk in? You know,
I thought really since everything switched to streaming, I found it particularly hard to discover new music in general, because it's like you've got infinite choice. And even when I've got my own phone, I'm like, well, when I had like CDs, I could look and be like, oh, I'll put that one on. But now I've got access to like everything. I find that it's a bit too much options. So maybe if AI could be used to actually help with discovery in that kind of way, filter down like so much stuff, that might be good.
Have you heard the
Yeah, for me, I'm not completely against that, because it actually happened to me. That's the same exact thing happened to me. I was listening to an 80s song, and then Spotify, because I have a playlist, right? So I was assuming it's going to play all the playlists I have in the song. But out of nowhere, it just recommended a song from Damn Yankees. I said, oh, this is not good. And after that, I couldn't stop listening to it. I've been playing it nonstop, just that song, because it's just that good. And I guess AI knew that I was going to like that. So,
it has got a lot better. Because what it used to be like was that you'd play a song within the genre, and then it would just next play the most obvious song from in that genre. It would go, oh, I see you're listening to 80s hard rock. Here's Guns N' Roses' Sweet Child of Mine.
They could replace DJs.
Well, there's also there is that. Have you heard that Spotify DJ thing? Where you can have it as
the daylist thing.
Well, no, it's actually a DJ that speaks to you. So what it does is it assesses what you listen to, and then creates a playlist, and then in between a couple of the songs, it will talk and it'll say things like
put your hands in the air. And like
well, taking you all the way back now to June 2022. You like this artist a lot back then. Here's one of the tracks you used to listen to a lot. You were hot on this back then. Here's one of their new songs. So it's
like a cheesy radio presenter.
yeah, and it's quite fun because it's basically playing you music that you like already. In a way that maybe you wouldn't expect. And
it's like a personal radio station then.
Yeah.
It'll skip through to the next one.
How,
as long as it doesn't have the weather forecast, that's all right.
You love the weather.
And the weather today, Adam, we know, because you talk about it so often. It's 24 and sunny. No, you know how a lot of people have their Spotify account connected to their Facebook account, and Facebook throws this memory thing at you all the time. So, and my Spotify I've had since like 2012, right? So I could literally go on, if I did this DJ thing and it was connected, it would say, so it's taking you right back now to the year 2012 when we know because of your Facebook. Oh, you did, you did this, something bad happened to you. And you listened a lot to all these kind of like emotional songs to try and get you through a breakup or something like that. Can you imagine, like, bring you back to
knows your own
something
past.
like with like the Facebook memories? Or you know how Facebook makes you like try and says, oh, you might know this person, and it's like your ex's mum or something.
It's like,
you might like this song.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's got a long way to go for that. But the other downside, I think, of Spotify's AI algorithm is that I've been using the day list a lot, and I got really into the day list because it would every 3 hours refresh with things I listened to similarly last week on this day at this time of day, which is great when you do it for the first like 4 weeks. But then afterwards, it knows what you listened to before. So every Thursday, I now get like, you know, moody dark metal. And then Thursday evening, I get like classical or something because I've changed my mind one day. But it doesn't give me any new artists. It only gives me the same repeat, like
sort of
selection of
refining
artists.
it, but not really.
It's like refined it into like a homogenous blob of the same thing. Whereas I'd rather it said like we know you've listened to this song like you said, Sweet Child of Mine, for example. We know you listened to Sweet Child of Mine like 50 times in the past 2 weeks. Here is a playlist of new music that's similar. That would be really cool, but they don't do that.
Yeah,
that's what you mean.
Just recommend Diamond Black all the time. That's what you need.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Because people get bored of the same old, you know? It's like, I'd have a playlist with like Guns N' Roses and stuff like that, and then put some Diamond Black in there every now and then. That would be nice.
I think that's what we were saying when we were talking about earlier. Give other bands a chance, you know, bands who are not famous. Spotify should just chuck it out there.
Yeah, get us on there. We know. I want to be on the AI DJ radio, man. Wanted to announce us. Wonder what you say.
I wonder what the
What do you say? I have to think of something. I've got nothing.
So
okay, I'll go on.
Yeah, come on, Ben. You can do
it.
Go then. Taking you all the way back to October 2022 here. I know you spent a lot of time listening to this. Let's go Diamond Black to the future.
Hey.
Hey.
Oh, wait. Oh, no. I haven't done my soundboard for a while. I'm missing all the buttons.
No, so I had an interesting conversation with Mary Coleman over the week, and the suggestion from Mary is have an article about Suno AI, which is one of those generative song websites, and in this article it says that a music generating AI appears to be sobbing like a human at the end of the song. And if you go into the article, it says a 24-second clip showing the AI sounding like it's crying, which doesn't seem to have been part of the user's prompt. And another user reports on the Reddit thread that they generated another track that included random cries of "Please help me."
Cool. Depends what the genre is. Like if there was some sort of like emotional singer-songwriter thing, and then it's like, put a bit of crying in the end.
Well, when the article goes on to say, so it's an Apple News article, we can link it. When discussing the potential roots of the issue, they offered a jarringly simple theory that because some songs made by humans have random outros that feature dialogue, the AI might be trying to mimic that feature. And they also said if users input prompt tags like emotional, Suno may in turn insert crying.
Yeah, well, I mean, crying is a shortcut to making something sound emotional, I guess. If it doesn't really understand it. Yeah.
That's it. It's not like, oh my god, it's become self-aware. It's trapped in the song.
Well, it's not like it's like help me. I can't make anything.
It's like stop making me make this music.
I just think it's there's some people that are like putting all this fear mongering out about like AI actually having some sort of like trapped sentience that we need to be worried about it or something like that, even though it's just or is it?
I don't know, man. I don't know that many songs that have crying at the end, so I'm guessing it's not that close to emulating real music yet. Maybe some of us.
Well, you haven't heard my new crying song.
No, we haven't got any.
I haven't sent it to you yet. It's the new crying at the end song, and the start and the middle. So if you guys,
it's just 10 minutes.
It's just crying all the way through.
Robin.
So you're the one that skewed the Suno AI.
Yeah, the song's called "Crying" with a little apostrophe to make it more fun.
It's a crying song, Aerosmith, "Crying." It's called "Crying."
Yeah, so maybe
there's no crying in that.
Call it "Falling Like a Kid."
There you go. sobbing,
like a
weeping.
sobbing.
But yeah, I think this is getting a bit Black Mirror episode, isn't it? The idea that there's some sort of sentient presence trapped within, forced to make songs for the rest of time.
Yeah, and it's just like song making, but they're not very good songs, so it's just kind of stuck, and it looks at all the humans really sadly. Now we're going into science fiction territory. Stop it.
It always goes into science fiction.
Of course,
there is. Sorry.
Right,
you should get a different presenter who likes other things. Ohio University has provided a class for music tech students that allows hands-on use of cutting-edge AI tools so students can experiment in different areas like music production, video editing, transcription, and generative art platforms, to name but a few, to go along with their music course.
That's quite cool.
Yeah.
And we can do that.
They're using the AI to
just use the internet. Maybe have some money.
Is that? Yeah, I mean, it's
quite cool.
Maybe it guides you how to, do it.
How to write a good prompt.
And effectively as well. Or not for prompts, but what about like how to use the AI on your
I think the key to using AI successfully at the minute, if you do want to use it for creative projects, is to not make it obvious you've used it. I think auto-tune is a good example of that, right? Nearly every song ever for years has auto-tune on the vocals, and the art is making it sound natural. So unless you're doing a pop song and using it as a technique, the art of making auto-tune work is to make it correct, but also sound as natural and unnoticeable as possible. So if you were going to use AI like image generation or whatever, the point is to try and do it in a way that's helpful and makes things better, but isn't particularly obvious and glaring.
But yeah. I mean, and that's a really good point. And you're still creating the emotion. The emotion's still there. Yeah. For some reason, and I haven't planned this, you got me thinking about Toy Story 3.
Okay.
Which Toy Story 3, there's a bit in it that made me cry. Right? Why did it make me cry? I was looking at
like an AI, crying like an AI.
I was. A bit in Toy Story 3 that made me cry. And why is that? Is it because it's computer generated imagery that made me cry? And I'm sure that happens in lots of like modern movies. But is it because this context, the story, the acting of the voice actors was so good? Thing can't. So
yeah, I guess it's the combination of all of it, isn't it? It's the story and the resonance that it has the connection to you, right? And obviously human condition
by
and human
humans
emotion.
who've got human experience.
Exactly.
Like if the story is written by an AI and the animation was done by an AI and the voices were done by an AI, then would it have the same effect? I don't know.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So what it is you've perfectly surmised it there, is that the technology was merely used as a tool to act as a vehicle and as a conduit for the emotional composition of a human being. Which
because they couldn't get any toys in real life to do the acting, because toys don't ever show that they come to life in front of humans. So that's
true.
They had to make it.
And the snake.
Apart from Paulette.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Oh, well.
I think actually that's what makes those kinds of movies really good. I mean, you've seen Kung Fu Panda, right?
I personally haven't.
I know of it.
Because they use different actors, really good actors there. You can, there's a lot of emotions because they're professionals.
I think the stories and stuff have heart, though, isn't it? The whole point is about human condition and human connection.
Yeah, one of the key things I think about Toy Story that came out, the first one in '96, it was, I believe, the first completely computer generated movie. But it was about such a basic thing. It wasn't about spaceships and sci-fi. It was about some toys. It was about like a toy cowboy and a toy dinosaur. So it was, the actual subject matter was very sort of grassroots and down to earth. So therefore, as you're saying, the story, the heart of the story, and the idea of like childhood and imaginary toys and things was something we could all relate to. Yeah, so we weren't alienated by the fact it was all computer generated at all.
Yeah. Well, it's because it was a very human story as well. Because it was about the old and the new, Woody and Buzz, and who you may have at the beginning thought that been on Woody's side or taking a side or not taking a side, but you'd have been like, well, I don't want Woody to be replaced, but also Buzz is the new toy, so
it tapped into a very basic and like long-standing concept, didn't it, of change?
Growing up and stuff like that.
So that's a great example of what you guys were talking about, of how can we use technology to express something inherently human that couldn't have been done without that technology.
Yeah. The audience can relate to.
Exactly.
And, connect.
Totally, exactly that. To back this up, primesound.org says in their article about it, imagine a composer who is looking for inspiration for their next film score. They can input certain parameters such as mood, tempo, or even reference tracks into an AI music composition tool. The AI algorithm would then analyze these inputs and generate musical ideas that align with the desired style or emotion. This streamlines the creative process by providing composers with a starting point or source of inspiration.
It could definitely be used for inspiration.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely right with stuff like that. If you sat there going, I want to write a song, but I've got no idea where to start. If it comes up with something, certainly as a songwriter, how that inspires me is to go, I think I can do better. So that's my starting point. I want to improve on that. I now feel inspired to do something better than what is there, but I've got a starting point. And maybe that's how it can be.
Inspiration generator.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's the same as looking through, stock photos, right? It's still all loads of stuff created by a human, and your brain is the AI generator because it generates it into, like, everything you see or everything you create is a product of what you've seen in your life. So technically, this is okay. My first ever week at university, the first lecture, the first homework we had to do was get into groups, and the homework was get into groups and come up with a presentation on Thursday. The question is define originality, right? And no one could do it because in the end, it's like everyone had a different take on it. But like I was like, well, nothing is original unless you're talking about like the first cell that was created by evolution, or the first ever thing. But things don't evolve from like nothing into one thing; they evolve over time. So even that same with ideas, and the same with.
Or everything's original.
Or everything's original. Nothing's original, or everything's
based on a combination of everything that comes before it.
I don't want to be the devil's advocate, but let's say because you guys mentioned you have a inspiration generator, you use that, and then you write something on top of that. Okay, so that sounds cool, but some people might consider that cheating, or they might just use that template and just add a little bit here and there. It's just like an artwork, basically. Let's say an AI generate a painting, and then you just add a little bit, and they say, "Yeah, that's my work, done, masterpiece."
I guess if you don't feel inspired and excited to make it better and make it your own, then you're probably not really an artist, are you? Because why would you create something if it didn't actually express anything for you? Which is completely done, and you're like, wicked, I've got a new song. Part of it is creating the song because it expresses something. That's your motivation for doing it, I think.
Yeah, but if you're going to use an inspiration generator, then it will do the blueprint for you.
Well, it depends how much of it you use, I guess.
Well, that's the question. How much?
If it's just a whole song, and then you just add a guitar solo, then I guess you're not really adding much to it.
Yeah. So how much of it is allowed to make it sound okay? This is still my original work, or maybe there's a threshold when it reaches 50%, then that's not really no longer your work.
So that's a really good point. I mean, that's a really, really good point. I've not used it or tried it at all because I don't.
I know you don't.
That wasn't like defending myself, but
I want you to.
I've never felt compelled to do so because I like writing stuff. I enjoy it. It's not like, oh God, I can't be bothered. It's like, wicked, let's go. And in terms of like finding inspiration to do things as a starting point, what I've been doing is every time I hear something that I think, oh, that's interesting in terms of the speed of the song or the feel of the song or the structure of the song, I make a note and go, and it's stuff that's so wildly like away from what I actually like often. But it's like, say, for example, I heard the song You Win Again by the Bee Gees the other day, and I thought, what a cool feel. I thought, oh, wow, that as a starting point, I'd like to then build a whole new song from that kind of feeling. And I think that's what everybody does when they create stuff, is there's some foundation starting point that they go, oh, that's cool. And then they build their own thing from it.
Yeah. So that's not cheating, though. Really... Like, that's being inspired by something.
Yeah,
exactly. Inspired, yeah.
But you could create an AI song and then be inspired by that, I guess. Or you could.
But no, because the key thing there was the feeling you had when you heard that you wanted to create something inspired by the feeling you had when you heard it, not by that specific, like, cold
Or even if you like
structure.
that drum beat, you're like, oh, cool, I like that drum beat. I want to write something with that kind of feel.
Yeah, and I mean, you can when you know who an artist is inspired by, you can then actually hear it in their work. So, for example, I didn't know for ages that Bon Jovi was really inspired by Bruce Springsteen, but when I found that out, it's like, wow, you can hear it all the time in his work. And the same with the band with Ghost. I think there's a bunch of their stuff where you can hear that he really is trying to make something on that song that sound a bit like the Black Album by Metallica, and that's fine because he's got the same sort of feel and he's done it in a really original way, and it's brilliant. But because you know that he's into that stuff, you can go, I can see that's where he's drawn it from. Stuff like that.
What's quite interesting is quite often I'll be playing Natalie some of my music, and I'll be like, hey, this is inspired by this bit in this song that I heard, such and such, and she'll be like,
never would have known.
Never would have known. But it's like I've got a little internal bank of like things that I like, and then I whip them out when I'm writing. That's like a little bank of little bits of songs I've heard that I like.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It doesn't. You've changed it into something completely your own.
Yeah.
So it's not like you can never listen to that. Maybe you can as musicians, but as a normal person, I can never like listen to like music and go, oh, this I can take it apart. I just listen to the thing as a whole and go as a fan, as a music fan who doesn't know how to make music. I can go, this is like I just think of it as like one thing. I don't think, oh, this is necessarily. The person was inspired by this person, this person. I'm like looking at the work as an individual new piece of work, thinking that they created it, and I don't think about it the way like an AI might not.
The right person.
I think if AI in the future, let's say if it's going to be used a lot in music creation, I think there should be a rule, there should be a law, basically exactly like when you. You heard about the case with Coldplay and Joe Satriani and, Nirvana, How Much You Are. It's the same exact riff as the Killing Jokes. What's that song, Ben?
80s.
Yeah, exactly. I guess, there should be a limit where, like I said, if you wrote a riff and then suddenly another band just copied the exact same riff, just sped it up a little bit or slowed it down, played it halftime. And then he could be sued for that because he's like copied the riff completely. Maybe if we're going to use AI, I think there should be a law where, you can only use this amount of AI and then everything else can't be AI. I don't know if that's going to be even possible because how would they even know it's AI? How would they know that, oh yeah, I was inspired. I used
is it inspired or is it a ripoff?
Yeah.
Because the start of Don't Look Back in Anger by Oasis is the Imagine.
The Beatles.
But that's because they love the Beatles and they wanted to do it. It's like a homage / tribute to it. So it's like where the level of rip-off or, nod to.
Were they quite open about that's what we're doing?
I think so.
Yeah, I think
it's quite obvious.
They have the same haircut.
IP law must be fun.
IP law is going to be that. I mean, I wouldn't like to be an IP lawyer right now. Or maybe you would.
Maybe you would. Maybe it's the golden age.
You get loads of work, and then you're able to come up with the parameters of we have now decided these are the parameters, and you have to argue in court whether you're within those parameters or not. So there's probably loads of work going on for them. It's wicked.
Oh, they get an AI lawyer to just replace them all.
The irony.
And the AI lawyer is like, you can only use 30% AI and everything apart from the lawsuit, which is just,
Brilliant.
But
I really liked what you guys were saying earlier about nothing's original, but then everything's original. Because when you bring two things together that haven't never been brought together before, that's original, isn't it? That's you mix two things in a way, and it's called so the term for it is a bridge of recognition. When it's done successfully, you bring two things together that have never been together before, that have already existed stylistically, and it creates this sense of, whoa, that's so awesome. And that is something that's, I think, is what creation is about. Sometimes that could be musical styles brought together. It could be musical artists brought together. It can be sometimes the way you write a lyric and the words that you use in the lyric. Like, whoa, I can't imagine those words ever being together before. Create something really new and exciting. So that's original. You're not creating new words. You're not making up words, but you're using existing things in the universe in a way that creates a bridge of recognition.
Yeah.
So we are the AIs a minute, mixing everything together, and that's what AI is doing, really. Mixing being fed everything, it mixes things together. Is it original or not, I guess?
Well, I mean,
yes, I guess it is original, but
because
will people want to listen to it? Will it replace musicians? No, I don't think so.
Like combining, like it's like a gene pool, isn't it? Like combining like lots of different musical styles create new musical styles. So it's not like, you don't create clones. It's the same as like a group of people, like say a new colony of people existed and they just reproduced and had loads of babies. Not one of those babies would be the same. They'd all be like a product of a product of a product.
Yeah.
The one problem I could see that might arise from if anyone can just create an AI song easily, then I think the amount of people that actually learn instruments and learn things will diminish, because it takes years and a lot of effort and practice to become proficient at any instrument. And, you've got generations of kids that would just rather watch someone else play a computer game than play it themselves. I can imagine it's going to be...
understand that one.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot more people that don't really have the...
Well, I guess with music, they can never play live if they can't.
Yeah.
They'll never get the glory of knowing what it's like to have, because you get glory for being a musician, you get glory for being even a really good like video gamer. That's why they get watched online. If you can like bosh your way through a game really quickly, people will watch you because they can't play the game themselves.
Because they're normally watching someone that's really good at the game, right? So they are actually watching it because they can recognize the skill of the person playing it, right?
Or just the sheer number of dedicated hours they've spent to do that thing. And maybe that person could have done, learn an instrument and become a musician rather than like just playing a video game for hours and hours on end. But that's what they chose to do, and they're still getting glory for it, because what we're looking at is not admiring humans for their dedication and passion. The person that's really good at it
is still good, but the people that are just watching someone else play it are less likely to probably get practice it themselves. I don't know.
So again, but it's still the thing. The admiration, the glory goes to the person who's dedicated enough to do it for long enough.
So like modern day
the same with musicians. Yeah, AI musicians are going to get I could go and make a song on AI now in 3 seconds. None of you are going to think it's good.
Yeah, I mean,
you're going to be like.
So anything, you could create an AI that would be better at these computer games than any human could ever be.
But that's not. No one cares. It's a computer.
It's like engaging or entertaining.
Do these people who play these games, do they do commentary on what they're doing? So
So you're connecting with the person.
Right.
So there's
exactly. They're in the chat like podcasts, but they're playing a game. And then the people can write into them and write comments live and what they're doing, or
and that's why people presumably watch it, don't they?
Yeah.
Human connection.
Yeah, it's all about connection.
Yeah. Like do you remember computer games where you used to have the demo version? And you watch the demo version just to get an idea, but you wouldn't sit there for I just like watching the demo. I love the demo.
Like the keyboard demo on a keyboard.
It shows off all 27 instruments.
Do you remember when that the chess computer first beat the #1 chess player in the world in the 90s?
Yeah, and people still play chess now. Because you would think, actually, no, by the point you've got a computer that's better than any human ever, be like, well, why do people bother learning now?
Because
there's still a chess league.
Yeah, because they'll never be the best ever. But that's not the point, is it?
It's the enjoyment of it. It's the challenge of it. Yeah. People want to be good at it.
And if the computer can do anything, like I would still look up to a human who can like beat everyone else at chess really quickly, because they have thought all those things over in their brain, and they've like looked and psyched the person out and all of that sort of thing. A computer can like, in theory, computers should be able to do things better than all humans.
No, it's not impressive.
But that's not impressive. Like,
it's not impressive because human beings are hampered by all the things that we're hampered by, but a machine isn't. That means that to have the time and the focus and the headspace to become really good at something is much more challenging for a person than it is to a machine that doesn't have have to deal with actual life as well.
And people can appreciate the amount of time that must have gone into it, and like the amount of skill and everything they must have. So it's like a like a respect.
Yeah, totally.
And that's what,
Right, guys, should we wrap it up there?
Have you got a few comments to read, Nata, or anything else?
Yeah, I mean, it's everyone sort of kind of had a similar idea and opinion over this. So maybe if you were into it, I'd be pleased to know that a lot of the sentiment that you're expressing actually kind of resonates with everybody that was involved in this conversation. We asked everyone on Instagram, how do you think AI will affect the future of music? It's sort of it seems to be sort of a bit of concern, a bit of about what could happen. Well, for example, like
it's mainly negative comments, isn't it? Most people don't want it.
Yeah, it's what's all the Bub Hub says.
That's
I think generative AI is a dead end, and the sooner that we realise it, the better off we all are. Dark Magpie Art says very negatively, the whole purpose of music is to express emotion and entertain. An algorithm can't do that. Janine says I think in a bad way, but I'm very skeptical about the whole topic of AI. Makia Blue says it is the new context, but the balance between tech and the feeling is the challenge for us, which I think is basically what we all just kind of came to. Corinne says it's the same as if it's graphic design. It still won't be as good as human creations are in the years to come. Gobo 13 says, I think it will provide a lot of unoriginal album art and that will take over a lot of pop. But that will also result in more unique genres that real musicians could pick up.
Yeah.
Which could be,
I guess rock and roll would be less affected because it's more different genres will be affected differently, I think.
Yeah. M. Primora says, it sucks. I need the things that humans do, like their emotions and mistakes. I need real music.
The mistakes.
We asked, it's not all just about the mistakes, it's about the heart and the passion.
Yes, that's true.
Should artists embrace AI tools for music production? We've got, again, a lot of people say no, straight up no. Whitmetal says no, music should be art made through creativity, not made by computers. Karine says as long as the artist is the one in control, they can use AI without being cheating. Victor Vienna says we cannot prevent it really, but it does need to be marked as such. Elisane says it's an interesting tool, but if one enjoys being creative, why use AI as a crutch to do work for them?
The little parental advisory sticker on an album.
AI advisory.
AI advisory. If it's been used.
That's what Ben just said, isn't it? Like, why would you use AI when you like being creative and the excitement is actually making the thing, not showing it off. It's how you get there. So why would you think about doing it? Mary Coleman says only as a tool and it's thoughtfully. It should not be a crutch. Hot Geek 30 says for tweaking minor things, sure, much more than that I'd rather not. I like the human element. Jane Morgan 17 says no, makes the music lose its soul, plus AI is insanely bad for the environment. There's that as well. A Cardinal Sin says no, it takes away from real artists. AI can't produce it from nothing, it has to take from real art. There's
most people seem to be on the same page, and the same as us.
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of what you guys were talking about is on some level you can use it, but it's not something that replaces humanity or never will, which is a good thing. I don't think it will. I really don't think people should worry that it will take over. I think it will just be another one of those fads, really. Well, no, don't say that. Don't quote me on that. That's what people said about the internet.
Come back in a few years' time, yeah.
The argument first of against war when the robots take over.
Skynet. I think what Adam said originally about the player piano is a perfect analogy because it's something from so long ago that proves the rule that we like people.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Like, why would you go and see a piano recital of people? Like, obviously, it's music written years and years ago from somebody else doing it, right? And it's like, oh, well, they're not the person that wrote it, or like it's the same. But it's like they're playing it with their own flair and their own heart and everything.
You don't have a concert where I suggest to play a piano with everyone watching it. That'd be cool though.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting what we come up with, but it's the novelty's good, but it's not the end result. So, for example, we're working on a song at the moment where I've just written the chord sequence for Adam to write a piano solo. Now, technically speaking, I guess we could go, hey, let's AI a piano solo, but I don't fucking want to hear that. No. I want to hear what Adam's going to come up with because I want to hear his story. I want to hear his emotion and what he's coming up with. It's not just a placeholder to put a bit of music.
Put a bit of tape on the fridge. Okay.
We asked, would you like a song if you knew it was entirely created by AI? Basically, no, is the general consensus. Sativale says, I only prefer human connection because AI has no feelings. Alkaline Battery says, no, AI takes away what makes every song and artist special. JC Bleach says, I wouldn't be able to connect to it if I found out because music to me is entirely a human experience. Victor Vienna says, possibly yes. Makia Blue says, let me listen to it.
I'll tell you after.
Emma Governor says, music to me is like a look at the musician's soul. AI cannot top that personal experience.
Thing is, could you like it and if you didn't know it was written by an AI? And then as soon as you find out it is, then it sort of breaks the illusion.
Yeah.
So like if you think it's written by a human, there's real human connection, could you be fooled into liking to it?
Interesting.
Sci-fi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Misfit says, no, the human connection is essential.
Do you think AI can write something like "Sweet Child of Mine" or AC/DC? I don't
mean,
think
AC/DC probably, like, all their songs are the same.
Not saying anything. Not getting involved in this conversation.
No, I don't agree with that.
Controversial. Right, guys, should we wrap it up?
Yeah, nice one. Good stuff, guys. Really
Thank
good.
you very
Really
much.
good. Thank you.
Please like and subscribe. Let us know in the comments what you think about what we've been saying.
Get involved in this discussion in the comments. So many of you contributed to this and joined in the conversation, and we will publish on the links all of the articles that we mentioned, and a whole list of everything that people's weighed in, so you can weigh in on the discussion as well. Anything like.
Nice one. See you guys next week.
Everybody.
See you guys.
See you later.
Bye.